bidders coming in, and the house is just going up, up, up. And in my mind, this is a great time to get into the market, considering, uh, what could happen if rates go down into the fives, which, by the way, I don't see happening anytime in the near future. It's we're looking at seven before we're looking at five right now.
Hey there, everyone. Jamie with Sell for 1% Realtors, joined as usual by the gang, head broker Dave Barlow, Jason Barlow, and Rich Cercone with Highlands Mortgage. It is June 11th, 2026, and we are here for a Columbus and Ohio, really, um, real estate and
National. We're
mortgage
worldwide
market
now.
update.
We just started our podcast, guys. So we're
Yeah,
international
great.
now on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and about 30 other podcast outlets. So we're going worldwide. We'll be as big as Joe Rogan and not the too far off distance. So congratulations, guys. It's a big milestone for us.
Awesome. Well, I got the right haircut for Joe.
There you go. Well, people
Yeah.
always said I had a face for radio, so it works out well. What's happening out there, Richard? Whole world's going crazy.
Well, we got yeah, we got war, we got inflation, we got 6.5% to 7% raise, 6 to 6.75% raise, I should say. And so more of the same. But I would, I was thinking about something the other day.
Ooh,
If I were a new buyer just coming into the market, would I want to be coming in at 6.5% market, or where you have a chance to make an offer on a house and have the time to think about it, and maybe get your offer accepted at price, or maybe slightly above or below the purchase price? Or do I want to come in at 5.5%? If that ever happens again, we don't know, but if it ever does, do I want to come in at 5.5, where you've got all these bidders coming in and the house is just going up, up, up? And in my mind, this is a great time to get into the market, considering uh, what could happen if rates go down into the fives, which, by the way, I don't see happening anytime in the near future. It's we're looking at seven before we're looking at five right now, I think.
really? You
Dad
think it's
thinks
going
you're
to go
wrong.
up
Dad
before it
thinks
goes down?
gas is coming down to $1 and rates are coming to 2.
No, I'm not ever said that. Don't put words in my mouth now. I think that I think gas will get back down to around $3 a gallon, and I think interest rates will probably get down into the high fives, like it was prior to the war there in Iran. That's my
We'll
thought.
just, and anybody that doesn't agree with that, we'll just nuke them till we get
There
to
you
the
go.
point where we're back to 2% rates,
There you go.
and that
There
will
you
that
go.
will fix everything.
There you go. And one of the things that happens, and my dad had a lot of great sayings. Um, Rich, you said there at the beginning of that little segment that you were thinking about this situation. And my dad had a great saying that he would say, sometimes I sit and think, other times I just sit. And that's what I prefer, just the sitting part. So,
Yeah, yeah. Thinking gets me in trouble more
it
often than not.
does, doesn't it? Depends on who you're expressing your thoughts to.
I know one person I don't want to express it to, and she will go unnameless.
Yeah, not good. We all learned that lesson. Some of us survive, others don't.
With a little less hair, but we survived.
There you go. Well, I think it's all good thoughts. I really do. I think that we've been kind of talking about that 6.5 kind of being the new norm. If it does drop down below five, it's going to be great. Um, I think they're going to have to get gas prices down, or they're going to have all kinds of issues here in the November election. So I think that's a must. But interest rates, I think, will follow. It's interesting, inflation's up, as you mentioned. Um, Jobless claims seem to be down. More people seem to be employed. But the big number that is creating inflation appears to be gas prices.
Yeah, and jobless claims, when you see those jobless claim reports, they can be deceptive because after a certain point, you no longer qualify for unemployment. And so you go off the jobless claim roll. And so, you're just like, you have no unemployment anymore. You don't count towards that number any longer. So you can't always rely on that jobless claims number.
But one of the things I did see, I think
Interesting.
the other day, that for the past 2 or 3 months, that they have revised the jobless claims up, where we got kind of used to seeing revised jobless claims down. Are you seeing the same thing?
Um, I don't have that right in my head, but yeah, I think you might be right because I think that you know back in the previous administration, they were always trying to report a great number, whereas I think in this one, I think that they are trying to report a number that is even stronger than necessary, and then they have to revise it back down again. So, um, who knows? I think it's very political, though. I think
Sure.
uh, that number is manipulated quite a bit.
Jason, would you have any information to contradict me on that?
Nope.
Oh boy.
No, sir. I was gonna
Ah
just
boy.
be,
You usually
mess with you
do.
when you're like, I'm seeing the jobless can't do this. Do you see the same thing? Like, no, I see the total opposite.
Okay.
I live in a
There
totally
it
different
is.
reality where
There
the headlines
it
are
is.
180 different. This is
There it
how
is.
Dad argues at the dinner table.
There it is.
By the way,
There he is. There's my boy.
no, I'm just sitting here, sitting, not
See, Jay gets
thinking,
always
as you
arguing out
often
with
do.
me. Jay gets always arguing out with me because he can't argue with his significant other because he's learning. So let me have it. Let me have it.
5,200 listings on the market, active and coming soon. So our inventory's climbing. New pending numbers across Columbus are down this week and last week.
Hmm.
And so market is starting to slow a tiny bit, but also the one from last week is because of the holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we'll see how the rest of the summer continues to roll here. I mean, some of these listings and I'm going in with some buyers on some too right now, and it's like, some of these sit for 30, 40 days and they pop. And then other ones, they come on the market and they have multiple offers in 2 or 3 days and they're gone. And when I say multiple offers, I mean, the days of like back during COVID, I joke with my sellers when I walk through their house is like, it was the best time ever to be a realtor. We put
Mm-hmm.
the house on the market, I put a sign in the yard, and we would have 52 showings, 48 offers. You were getting 60,000 above asking with no inspection, waiving the appraisal. Like those days that hasn't happened in quite a long time. Kind of what to Rich's point. I think that Rich, it's a good spin for a buyer agent to give is, yeah, you know what, prices, maybe a little bit higher and rates are up a little bit, but you have some time to think. You can get a home inspection. You can, make sure it appraises that you're not getting ripped off, so I thought that was a good spin that you had there
Yeah.
earlier, Rich. But
I can tell you in those days, because I was pre-approving people, they were making offers on multiple houses in one day. Like they would make an offer at eight
right,
o'clock at night and not get the house. And then at 10 o'clock in the morning, they were making an offer on another house and they didn't get that. And at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they were making an offer on a third house. And I would like shake my head. I'd tell my wife, how in the world can you make a decision to buy three different houses in a 24-hour time span that you're going to live for the next 10 or 15 or 20 years of your life?
yeah.
But that was the market then, and you had no time to think, and you just had to make an offer, and you just needed a roof over your head, and that was the mentality.
Yeah, and maybe a good segue to hand it to Jamie for the buyer side. I mean, how many buyers did you have that just like dropped out because it got outbid 25, 30 times? I mean, as a listing agent, I was like a genius because everything sold in 10 minutes. But as
Yeah.
the the buyer agent. How different is it now than it was? And you started 2018, I
Right.
think 2019. How different is it now?
Yeah, it went from, having home warranties and home inspections and remedies and negotiating to, hey, we got 30 offers, put your best foot forward. And then, the advice to the buyer was, if we lost the offer, like, yeah, there was 30 offers, only one of them could win. And I'd have buyers that win, bids like that. But your advice to them is essentially based on what the other side, the agent's telling you, and again, 10, 20, 30 different offers, only one of them can win it. And typically, the top three, four offers are doing crazy things to try to buy a house. Um, and a lot of those people had missed out on a few houses. So then, when they find another one they really like and want to buy, they're going crazy. They're going, 20, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 over. And the appraisal gap, that's I guess that I think that would be the best way to summarize that entire era was the appraisal gaps where, well, the bank thinks it's only worth 300,000, you're offering 350, you got to come 50,000 out of pocket or you aren't getting the house. Um,
That
that
would eliminate a lot of first-time buyers that didn't have 50 grand sitting around.
right
Yeah.
on top of closing costs, on top of down payment, you saved up for, 5, 10 years, whatever it is for a house, but didn't expect that to be part of the equation. Um, Today, again, that's not what we're seeing. You can put
Yeah.
the home warranty in, you can put the home inspection and remedy in, you can negotiate after the home inspection if the roof is 12 years old and has leaks around the hat vents, um, or whatever it is, flashing or whatever it is. So it kind of, real estate agents have to do their jobs again. That's kind of the way I would put it. Got to negotiate, got to, things wrong if you're on the buy side. And buyers are coming back into the market. I think, people settle into, high 5, 6% interest rates after, well, we're mid sixes. People have settled into it here after a few weeks and getting towards the end of summer. And, um, I mean, it's just a
Yeah.
reality. If you want to buy a house, that's what the interest rate is. And, yeah, I have a number of buyers that are out there looking now. And again, I appreciate it. I looked have new buyers that looked last weekend, and a few of them, like you said, Jay, set up showings on Thursday for a Saturday, and out of the six we had set up, two of them fell into market or fell in contract within 48 hours. It's just like those are probably pretty decent ones. And then, two of them had been on the market over 60 days. Um, and one of them kind of in the middle. And, buyers at the end of all the showings were just like, well, we're going to go home and think about it. It's like, yeah, you have time to,
Yeah.
in some cases. In a lot of cases, they're still the ones going pretty quickly, but it isn't anywhere close to, yeah, 20, 30,000 over asking price. And sellers are just happy, I think, to get their house sold in some scenarios.
But Jason,
go ahead.
go ahead. I was just
I,
going to say Jason had a great point because if you're a first time home buyer and you only have 3 or 5% down, you've got that minimum down payment. You want to buy now. You don't want to buy when everybody's back in the market if rates were to drop. You want to buy now because if you don't have the money to cover an appraisal gap and this market gets hot again, you're nosed out. And I had several clients who
Yeah.
just could not buy a house back in those days that we're talking about.
I am seeing a couple of listings go multiple offer. I just closed one here a couple days ago. Multiple offer. We were 15,000 over our asking price. We did get a full appraisal gap from the buyer. And I think we talked about this last week. because I got a note from our friend Mark Calvary, who watches these videos. Um, I had this appraisal came in $8,000 short. And so, we show up at the closing table and the seller's like, I can't believe you suggested getting the appraisal gap because it saved them $8,000 out of their pocket because the buyer ended up bringing that 8,000. I just did another deal, and one of the deals I was talking about last week with the low appraisal gap FHA deal, and the FHA appraisal sticks with the property for 90 days. And so I did a little research. It's like, well, okay, we got to find a conventional buyer, we got to find a cash buyer, or this particular property sits right on the outskirts of Marion, and we could go USDA. And of course, USDA, no down payment. So the person who is having to bring 3.5% on the FHA deal could now switch that money into the lower appraisal to make up the difference. And so now we're back in contract. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why you hire a group like us is we've seen a lot of things. I can tell you, I've not seen it all. I'm still learning, even the old dog, I'm still learning. And that's what we do. We're problem solvers. We figure out ways to get deals done. And that's what we do very good. You got a guy doing mortgages now with Highlands for 28 years, 29 years. I'm 27 years into it. Jay's 20 years into it almost now. Jamie, well, you're 21, going on
21.
21, aren't you now? Yeah, you just had that big birthday.
21.
Jamie, you're 8 years into it, but you got the experience sitting behind you to ask questions and help. It's a good day here at Sell for 1% and Highlands Mortgage, now on podcasting. Like and subscribe. That's your outro cue there, Jamie.
You're all broken up. Thank God it's become a podcast and no one has to look at this video
Oh
of
boy.
your choppy face with your Delaware internet connection.
I like when Jay does the outros, honestly. I think
Well,
Jay
here's
does a
my
good job.
outro as I reminisce about COVID and bidding wars. I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. Back to being a realtor full time. Guys, thanks for watching. Hit like if you like me, hit subscribe if you like Dad. We'll see who has more likes and subscribes. Leave a comment if you like Richard, and if you like Jamie, give him a call. You can reach Jamie at 614-493-8541. Guys, thank you for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you next week with another update on world events, Iran, Rich's favorite conflict in the history of the world, and interest rates. Thank you all. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.